Hey, what's up, everyone? Cardboard.Capitan here, and today I wanna, I don't know, kind of do like an official series, not series, of stuff I'm trying in Alchemy, with Foundation's recent release. Now, I haven't been having much trouble, but I've been studying what I've played against, and I found this Sultai deck, uh, piloted by Strickles 12. So if you're out there, hey, I took your deck, changed it up a bit. It got me to Mythic, so I'm happy. Uh, as far as this person's deck goes, I think the strongest cards here, Glarb is something I didn't try until I saw here. Glarb is, it's a Death Touch creature, and if it's not answered, then you can start playing cards from the top of your deck. So could be good, could be not good, but no, I haven't had a problem with it so far. Also, Thought Rattle. Now, Thought Rattle really shines with Nashi, because not only is Thought Rattle targeted discard, it also, if you have Threshold, you can seek a rat card. Well, you only have one rat card in your deck, which is Nashi, and you can get that and have a cost reduction of 1, so Nashi now costs just black, green, and blue. But wait, there's more. Now, Nashi can duplicate a card in your graveyard and give it instant speed, so if you were to duplicate Thought Rattle, you have instant speed discard, which is ridiculously rare, but it's very powerful because you can use that discard at the end of the opponent's draw step if they have no cards in hand. So you kind of see what I'm getting at. So if you ever played Yu-Gi-Oh, there's a deck called, or a card called Yatagarasu. Not a very strong creature, but whenever it deals damage to the opponent, then that opponent skips their draw step. Kind of the same idea here. Anyway, Thought Rail's good. I'm also getting a new mouse. My mill scroll wheel isn't working that great. Here, I'll use a keyboard. Keyboard's better. There's other different things, standard stuff like Deadly Cover Up, Harvester of Misery, Overlord, right? And in my version, I tried having those, but I don't have a lot of these cards. Like Welcome the Darkness. That's a new card from Duskmourn, I believe, and it makes demon tokens. Now, Liliana, that's a new card from Foundations, as well as Time Stop. Now, I don't have a Time Stop, so I never had a chance to play it, but I did have Liliana, and she's impressed me mainly because there hasn't been too many Planeswalkers in Alchemy recently. I haven't seen too much of those besides Kaya. And I've played the Jace, like the 2 blue Jace. But Liliana, she's great. She makes zombie tokens, she forces sacrifice, and she has a static effect, so whenever a creature you control dies, draw a card. Ultimate isn't coming out very often, but when it does, it'll win the game. In my version, I've tried Virtue of Persistence, which gives the deck some early game removal, as well as having synergy with of the Beanstalk, and if need be, you can also recur Nashi, start bringing back non-creature cards from your graveyard. I feel like there's one more big thing that I added that's not in this deck, but oh well. Let's go to the gameplay. Okay, so this was one of the few last few matches before I got to Mythic. And even though this is a live land, I do have Up the Beanstalk, I do have some surveil lands. So, honestly, it could work. Now, I'm running Valk Boss. I know the Crossroads land might be... It is probably better since I don't have any benefits for enchantments, but, I have these layers, I don't have any Crossroads, and I've been playing Alchemy for how long? Well, I probably should have a playset of Crossroads by now, but, you know, it is what it is, as people say. So I keep. Let's see what mortuary gets me. More beanstalks. So 2 beanstalks to start. Not a bad deal in my opinion. Okay, Ganesh, Him to the ages. Now, there's been some recent changes to these chorus cards. For example, Him to the Ages, it used to be 5, and now it's 2. No, it used to be 5 with a chorus counter of 3. Now it's 2 mana for a chorus counter of 1. And because of changes to that and other chorus cards, it's been integrated into the Heist deck. So the Heist deck will run Ribald Shanty, which is the red burn spell, Hymn to the Ages, which you just saw, and Mycalid Ballad, which is the sacrifice effect. Now, there's some deckless running around of the course heist. I think this one's a little different because you see the forest, and the simulacrum, which is another foundations card which I want to play with. But I'm pretty ahead right now. I've got 2 beanstalks, 2 big old creatures, and just triumphant getaway. And it's kind of weird. Opponent plays it during their main step. But it's good for me because now, since the opponent has no potential for counter spells, um, then I can play whatever. Honestly, I should have played Virtue of Persistence there just to remove the um simulacrum. That was a whole round of errors because I fabled passage into nothing. So some horrible play mistakes for me that round. And opponent has deadly cover up. So even if I wanted to Virtue of Persistence their simulacrum, then I can't, right? But opponent smart takes out the Nashi. Something I've been wondering about, is it Nashi or Nashi? Like Nashi, it's a rat, right? And Nashi sounds like a fancy way of eating it. So are you noshing like a rat would do? But Virtue of Persistence comes down. I get 2 cards from Double Up the Beanstalk triggers. And I can start bringing back the Overlord. So opponent ill-timed explosions. Draw some cards. I'm gonna bring back my Overlord. Now there is a risk of counter spells here, but likely it'll be either a negate or disdainful stroke, because there's no general 3-mana counterspell they're likely to play, but it resolves. I get my zombie token. The opponent is on a 2-turn clock. Assuming they have no answers for the Overlord and the zombie token. But opponent Doppelgangs his Triumphant Getaway and my Liliana. Now the good news is I can get rid of that Liliana in response to the getaway triggers, and I want to do it that way so that opponent can't play any Liliana abilities, because Planeswalker abilities happen usually at sorcery speed. Well, I want to discard. I believe opponent has a demolition field, so that's why I'm hesitant about keeping the Restless Kaj. But I have two of the Beanstalks. I haven't seen any enchantment removal yet. Feel like I'm in a good position right now. Let's see, I don't think there's anything I can bring back with Virtue right now, because I don't believe opponent has any creatures unless he discards some this turn. I get hit with my own duress. Say, Bitter Triumph might be the call here. Because there's not too many creatures to bring back. There isn't any at all. Plus, but Virtue of Persistence means I can draw some creatures. I'm gonna swing in here for 8 damage. Now, I'm a Virtue of Persistence my own creature because opponent's tapped out, and I need to gain some life to counteract the life drain effect from the Triumphant Getaway. So, opponent's still on a 2-turn clock, but depending on what spells he drew from Triumphant Getaway, there's a chance I might just get drained to death. So, see what happens. Cornucopia? Fair Triumph? Opponent has 5 untapped mana right now. And with heisted cards, you can use mana of any type to cast it, so let's see, Deadly Cover-Up for 5. I'm at 2. So, I don't know if opponent could have just drained me to death there, or was more focused on removing my board. But I too have Doppelgang. So I'm trying to calculate, okay, so how many things can I copy while having mana to cast them? So, copy 2 Triumphant Getaway tokens, or permanents, and I get 4 tokens. So the good news is I get a lot of cheap spells, so Into the Flood Maw. At this point, it really doesn't matter as long as I can cast at least 3 spells, because if I cast 3 heisted spells, that's 8 damage drained, and that'll win me the game. So I'm trying to go for the cheapest spells right here, not necessarily the best spells that the opponent can cast. And I have 3 Into the Flood Maw, so that should be game. I'm just going through the motions now. As well as getting some information about the opponent's deck for next round. Now, I did see Roxanne, which tells me this is likely a Doppelgang deck. Because traditionally, you'd win through doppelganging those meteorite tokens for basically a meteor shower to pick out an opponent. But, this version has Triumphant Getaway, so. Alright, that's a dub. I didn't see too many creatures here, though. So I'm taking out some of my creature removal. I'm playing more to, okay, I hope I have answers to the enchantments they play. So Disdainful Stroke and Paw Patch Formation for Triumphant Getaway. Disdainful Stroke also doubles as an answer for Doppelgang. I think creature-wise, I'm fine. I have not only the main board, creatures like Overlord and Nashi, and I think those are the only creatures. But I also have the manlands. I have Restless, the blue-black one, and the Restless Kaj for green-black. Alright, opponent chooses to go first. With his hand, I'll keep. Now, Glarb makes an appearance this round. But, I drew Overlord, so Glarb will have to wait a turn. Or 2 turns now. I want to keep that Restless Reap as a way of dealing damage. Will you permit the Overlord? No, Overlord gets I'm about to say cancelled. Countered. Now, cancel is a very basic 3 mana counter spell, but since then they added more effects to that basic form. It used to be just 2 blue mana for counter spell, but they added one colorless to get cancel, and then now there's other effects like 3 steps ahead, and then there's one that does surveil, I think. Anyway, I just hard cast um the Overlord creature, put some power on the board. Next round, I likely want to cast Glarb. Okay. So Glarb it out. Glarb on top. And then I got a Bear Triumph on top. Let's see. Opponent uses Dread Knight. Let's see. Next turn, I could get some value from Virtue of Persistence, but the opponent did show a counterspell, so there's a chance that there may be counterspells from the opponent. I've got a Finale of Revolution on top. I'm seeing if I can cast it for 10, which I can't. I'm just gonna go in for 8 damage. Now here, I'm mainly seeing if will you counter this Virtue, but opponent has Triumphant Getaway. And in a sense, it kind of sucks, yeah, but what would I do if it gets cast anyway, right? I mean, I could hold and pretend and bluff like I have an answer to that, but that's not winning me the game, right? I also could have surveilled with Garb, which might have been the better choice. Because I do have Paw Patch, I do have Disdainful Stroke. But, I don't have anything that will draw me those. So, opponent Doppelgangs, Triumphant Getaway, and 2 Cornucopias, so 2 untapped mana sources. So normally Heist is only 3 colors, but the opponent stretched out to 4, and I believe green only adds Cornucopia and Doppelgang. Now I know there's a Chorus card, Colossal Chorus, something like that. That'll produce 6/6 creatures. It also fits with the Chorus theme. But I haven't seen it versus the opponent yet. Uh, Okay. Okay, opponent uses the paw patch formation I had to take out my virtue. No big. No, I think opponent snatched my Doppelgang. That's why it's in my graveyard. So if I were to survive this round, I would use Nashi, or at least attempt to use Nashi to get a Doppelgang back in my hand. Doppelgang opponents' getaways. And drain the opponent, but I think, yeah, opponent gets 3/6 copies. Jeez. And I'm just like, yeah, I'm done. So I'm taking out my Doppelgangs, focusing more back on that discard strategy. As far as my sideboard goes, I know it looks weird to only have 2 ley lines of the void, but I only have 2 copies. I know I should have 4, but I just have 2. I haven't put any money into this deck yet, so. Okay. This is a hand I'll keep. Of the Beanstalk. So, real good opening sequence of the Beanstalk, Overlord, go from there, right? I have good set of lands too. I have 3. I have lands that will allow me to cast Overlord with Impending. I draw a card from. Oh, Nashi. Oh my goodness. Oh, baby, right? And then I can Fabled Passage this turn. But the opponent also has an Overlord, which is no big deal. I have the Paw Patch formation. And, I just take it out. I could save it for, No, I don't take it out. I should save that Paw Patch formation for Triumphant Getaway. I have 3 turns that can pass. Until that, Overlord needs to be dealt with. So here I'm just going to go Nashi for a Fabled Passage. I'll apply some pressure, get some damage when I can. Also get a Fabled Passage, get more basics in play, thin out my deck. Demolition Field, that's going to discourage the Restless Cottage in hand. From attacking, at least. Let's see. Opponent should Heaped Harvest here. And with that, I'm going to respond with taking out their Overlord. So, not sure what's in the opponent's hand right now, but if there's creatures, I've got Bear Triumphs for them. Fountain Port comes down. That's going to mean tokens for the opponent. Okay, and I have a backup Nashi. So I haven't been talking too much about Nashi because it did get all copies got removed from the game the first round. So with Nashi, I think in this round you can actually start looping Nashi. It's not a return to your hand effect; it's a duplicate effect. So what you can do is with a copy of Nashi in your graveyard and a copy of Nashi in your hand, you play the Nashi and then you duplicate that other Nashi back to your hand. And with a recent buff to Nashi to give it flash, it's a great sequence you can do to create chump blockers so long as they cannot answer the opponent cannot answer the sequence. So here's Ill-Timed Explosion. Opponent gets rid of our Roxanne. Okay. I could have played Nashi there, but I was worried about counterspell, so I thought Rattle first. Unfortunately, I'm one off from Threshold, so I don't get that find a Nashi effect. So the good news is, opponent's down to any color plus a red-green, so it's unlikely they have a counterspell, and I can start looping these Nashis. Now here, the Crossroads, Captivating Crossroads would have been better, but I only have layers, so oh well. Okay. So opponent's gonna start creating treasures. Power up Doppelganger. Opponent also has the option of using the furnace side, which the opponent chooses to do so. Pay the war tax to get rid of my Nashi. See if okay, in response to the Sauna trigger, I'm gonna attempt Nashi, and I'm doing this so the opponent has less cards in hand, and I bring back a Nashi. I'm getting a bit flooded, but at least I'm able to continuously apply pressure. So I've got Nige. I'm gonna get rid of Overlord. I mean, I don't think opponent has any reanimation abilities. But Nashi's going in. him. Right. What I probably should do is play Glarb and see if I can get any junk off the top. But I also do want to use Kaj to apply pressure. Just play the Glarb. I'm like, oh. I probably should have played Glarb first, huh? And I believe this is here. I see the swamp off the top, so... Okay. So, I mean, to be fair, Restless Kaj would provide pressure. And with the opponent in 3, I want to, keep trying to win. So there goes a getaway to wipe the board. And it's good that the opponent didn't play the getaway. Rather, maybe have had been forced to throw away the getaway. Okay, yeah. So yeah, this is good because opponent bounces Nashi back to my hand, and I still get the enter the battlefield effect of Nashi. So while I can bring back Nashi, and this is what I was talking about, Nashi will give Thought Rattle instant speed, so you can see what your opponent's playing. So you can also fetch out Nashi with Thought Rattle, and here we go. I'm gonna play Nashi. I want to bring back Thought Rattle. And goodbye to that other Doppelgang. Let's do it. Yeah. Thought Rattle. Goodbye, Doppelgang. And I could swing in with Restless Kaj, but opponent can just make a fish token, and I'd be tapped out. So ideally, I just, I want to wait in case I need to cast Nashi at the end of the opponent's turn so I can have a way of dealing lethal. So opponent's getting desperate, starting to sacrifice tokens. Also gains 2 life from Heaped Harvest. Or rather, gains 3 life and gets land card. Okay. Opponent sacrifices a token. Him. Cornucopia. So Cornucopia was likely drawn off to him. Let's see. Gonna go in for 8. But the opponent has Into the Flood Maw. Now, even if the opponent makes fish with Fountain Fort, Nashi has Menace. So your lowly fish cannot block the Nashi because you need two or more creatures block a creature with Menace. So as you can see from this round, Nashi can be very busted. And that's one of the cards I really didn't understand why it was buffed. But if it gets more people to play Nashi, and that's it's a nice change from the Doll Makers and the Heist and the other decks that have been dominating Alchemy. Okay, so Simulacrum. Okay. I'm gonna attempt to remove the Simulacrum. And it does give the opponent a card. Opponent has 8 cards now. Getaway, okay. And I'm Paw Patch in response to the heist triggers. So even if the opponent heists in the instant, they can play they can't gain life off of those heist triggers. It does mean I can't cast Nashi should it get removed, but with the ward cost of targeting Nashi, I'm not too worried right now. Opponent has 5 untapped mana. Okay, I'm gonna eat some food. I'm gonna nosh on some food. Nosh for Nashi. Nosh for Nashi. Up the beanstalk. Deadly cover up. Does nothing for me right now. So I have lethal. I'm gonna attempt to swing in for lethal. Doesn't matter what I get from the opponent much. The opponent makes a lowly fish token. But I have the Bear Triumph for it. So that's a swing in for lethal. No Into the Flood Maw for the opponent. Good game. So again, this is one of the many versions of Sultai I've been trying. I'll be back for more next time. Probably take a break tomorrow, make another video the next night for Magic. We'll see. Alright. If you want to follow me for more updates, for news, that's my X account, Cardboard.Capitan, Moxfield, Cardboard.Capitan. I think I'm gonna hold off on doing a Sultai deck until I find a version I'm happy with, but this is more of showcasing what Nashi can do for you. Anyway, I will see you next time. Do like, comment, and subscribe. Da da da.